Hello, everybody. Welcome. Hi. We're going to take a minute here. Oh, nice to see all your lovely faces today. We're going to take a minute here and let people filter in. Looking forward to sharing this time with you. It's going to be a good session. Um, I it's kind of early for a New Year thing, sort of. I like to think about the new year a little ahead of schedule. In terms of like what I want to create for the year ahead and how I want things to roll and what I want to manifest. So I am looking forward to this being a beautiful container where you can put your intentions out into the field. You can all hear me okay, right? Hear me fine? Yes. Okay, good. Um, put the intentions out into the field that you want to see manifested too. Let's all hold space for each other to get our needs met, to get our desires realized in the coming year. Um, so, gosh, it's 12 already. Well, let's just dive right in and let's start with a little grounding meditation. Does that sound good with everybody? And I'll just ask everyone to stay muted. We will have probably have a little time for Q&A at the end. I'm gonna definitely cut off right at the hour, so this will be about an hour. We won't go longer than that. So that's the intention for today. Alrighty, well, let's just get grounded. Everyone, if you're in a good place to do so, just put your feet on the ground and let yourself feel yourself in your seat. And we can close our eyes. Just breathe. Allow Gaia to carry you. In fact, how much can you allow the earth to hold you? How much can you allow spirit to carry what you need into the coming domain of 2026 and through the holidays and through the solstice? And what do you need? See what bubbles up. See how your needs have been met to this date. Notice anything that has actually come to pass that you have put out into the field for creation. Recognize that you deserve everything that's come forward from your design, from your purpose, from your drive, from your intention. This is your planet. This is your home. Belongs to all of us, but we each need to claim our space here. And let this grounding remind you that everything you want that has ever been in the field of inquiry for you in your life is meant to be realized. It is the truth that you are meant to dive in headfirst for it. So let's notice the crown of your head. Notice your wisdom. Notice your truth. And as I always say, you can hold your intention there and you can also hold your truth there. So anything that's out of alignment for you today, if there is anything, just let it go. We all have our own truth and our own connection to source. You are going to be in touch with your divine knowing and wisdom today fully. All right, let's call it done for now so we have time for everything else. Thank you for doing that with me. So, as I always do with these things, I have like a little roadmap for what I intend to cover, but I'm going to let Gaia lead the conversation. So, for those of you who don't know me, I will just do a brief introduction. I'm Sasa. My work is in the field of the esoteric and the intuitive arts, and I am a medium, a channeler, and a guide teacher. And I love to teach about 5D and up. We don't just talk about the 5D, we talk about the 9D as well as other dimensions in my work. And Gaia is my primary channel. And I had a Kundalini awakening in January of 2020 that totally changed my whole trajectory of where I was going in life. And I found my divine purpose in the process of having that awakening. And I suspect if you're here, you're probably in the midst of some kind of big jolt or awakening yourself. You probably wouldn't be drawn here if you weren't. Um, if you will, do me a favor and say hello in the chat. Tell me where you're from, where you hail from, and any intention you would like to put into the container for manifestation. I'd love to hear from you. Um, I'm just checking in with who all is here. Yay! Nice to see you all. Many, many familiar faces, and some new ones. Yay! So we are in a three cheers for awakenings. Got someone from Denmark. Yay, Susan, thank you for joining us. Um, Kathy from San Diego, Michelle from Toronto, Nicola from Adelaide, Christine in France. Yay, thank you all for being here. So grateful to have you here. I love it. We have people from all over the globe with us today. It's really phenomenal. So good evening to some of you. So when I had my awakening, I had my jolt, and I had been in the midst of kind of a pre-awakening experience for a while where things were not quite clicking in my life. And I was definitely having some challenges. I was kind of lost. I had been enjoying my work for a long time. I have a background as a coach for spirit-led practitioners and healers, doing branding and web design and marketing. I had done that for almost 2 decades at that point, and not just in coaching. I had done a lot of that work previous. I started out as a graphic communications person. And my career changed over time as I got more into my intuitive abilities, and I started to develop a client base where I could utilize all these gifts. And it was really fun. We played. We didn't just do whatever project we had in front of us. We actually looked to spirit to guide us through the conversation. That's kind of how things started. And I'd been studying intuitive arts for a long time, and then everything started to get to this point where nothing was moving forward and I wasn't making any progress, at least not enough progress by my standards. And I'm betting that you can identify with a lot of my circumstances. I had become the indispensable person. I, felt like I could really focus very, very well on things if I understood like what it was I was meant to be doing. It was easy to focus. Once you got me going, I would just go for it, but I was in a period where things were not quite coming together. Um, and frankly, I was depressed. I was tired and fatigued all the time, and I had a lot of my guides are teasing me. They say lots of glorious note taking, lots of plans. Maybe you can relate to that. Um, so it was always. I just want to make sure we're recording for the replay. Okay, good. It was always so. Uh, it was funny because my guides are saying that even that was divinely guided. Even that experience was made from heaven. And that's kind of what we're talking about a little bit today is that kind of pivot. And maybe you don't quite identify with this, but you might have like a sense of, this could show up a lot of ways. You can be in malaise, a little bit fatigued by what's in front of you and not sure what you want to do next. You might feel an itchiness, like an expectation, like a sense that something's coming and you don't quite know what, and you wish you could put all the pieces together now. You might feel just general discontent with anything in your life. It could be anything. And this kind of pivot moment is what we're talking about today, where we kind of leap into the new. And it's funny, in my case, Spirit brought me a series of events that totally changed my whole world. And that is usually what will happen. I'm going to suggest that we hold the space that you have a very lovely activation in this time together. So if you're interested in one, put it out into the field, and the guides in our space will carry that forward because this is a powerful container. So anything you want to realize can be put into the field for resolution. And I find that any group that I get the honor of being a part of tends to have such powerful people in the space and powerful committed partners on the other side that we can do things, manifest major things in group space. So let's hold it as true that whatever you want to realize will be realized. So I did have that kind of, um, my guys are kind of calling it the forced pivot. It was a big wake up call. I started having connections to things that were bigger. I started to see nuances that I hadn't seen before in the world. I started understanding the underpinnings of everything in a way that I hadn't previously. And then my spirit guide, David Bowie, showed up, which many of you have probably heard that story, where I basically started to communicate with him over time. And then he showed up in my mind. I could hear his voice in my ear, and I could feel his energy present. So I could see him, visions of him. And he started guiding me through my creative work and trying to help me move into a new chapter of my life. And that was actually the first journey was really about getting me creatively aligned. But what happened was my spiritual gifts opened up tremendously, and I found my path as a healer and a teacher. So um, it did take a few years for that to really fully manifest, though. And I did go through a period of transition around that and claiming is a big word here, claiming that gift that was coming in. And in fact, I would not be surprised if many of you are not healers already. And half the battle here is in claiming what you are and fully going into that space of allowing yourself to be that person. So whether you are claiming the role of a healer or an author, many of you are maybe saying, "Oh, I will be an author someday," or "I want to be an author." Well, are you writing a book now? You are an author, hands down. Like, just go ahead and claim the title now. You get to be what you decide you are. Um, so, uh, oh, just a little note. Just make sure that you mute your audio, please. I noticed someone had their audio on. Um, so, what we look for in a change state is, so I'm going to start really just channeling everything from here on out. I did a little intro, but I'm going to see what comes through. So when we allow it, when we are facing a change state, or what a change state actually entails from Gaia's perspective, is a force of will, a kind of decision. That is like the key thing that we run up against when it's time to make a change. So you kind of jump into the conclusion here from the get-go. Um, so decisions are really potent magic. And I always say that a decision is the role you take on the role of a magician in your life when you start making decisions. And you could also use the word choice, decision or choice, whatever your preference is. It's interesting because there's a certain level of an energetic kind of undertow to decision that is about full on commitment and really going for something, right? Not to say that either word is particularly better than the other, but it's interesting. I have a friend who doesn't like the word decision. She likes choice because choice offers an option. You're just selecting among options. Decisions has the word side. Decide has the word side in it, or the breakdown is side means to cut off. So you're looking at cutting off options, and I guess that has some merit to it. And you know, I go into decision with the stance of like, I really fully committed to a path. I'm not really cutting off an option exactly, but I'm really fully going into a path. And it's tough as empaths because you are probably multi-dimensionally sensitive. You probably can read probabilities. You can see 10 paths. As a highly intelligent empath, you can see all the possibilities and how things could go. And it's hard sometimes to commit to a specific path. So, kind of going into the idea of change state, you have to make sure that, as Gaia says, you have to make sure that you are really willing to make the change. And that's really the key element to change is the willingness to make a change. It is the wherewithal to move forward. I have this card in my Sovereign Oracle deck that says, I don't remember what the word for the card is, but it says, invoke your will and your willingness. So they go together. Your willingness to make something happen must work together with, function together with your will in order for things to transmute. And the idea behind channeling my classes is to move into a state. So this is my guides are trying to talk about this a little bit because it matters to the conversation. Something about my channeling um, kind of is about moving to a state of allowing while also having a directed will. So there's a sense of me allowing spirit to guide the conversation while I also have my own intellect and direction kind of coming in. You can kind of tell as I insert things that there's certain pieces coming in that are coming from my own my own experience and my own intention for what the talk would be about. So, how does this relate to what we're talking about here? Well, channeling is a way to, yes, Kathy, alignment is huge. So that's a key part of this is coming into alignment with your spirit guides and yourself. And they work in tandem. You know, we tend to be in a place of wanting to allow everything to the detriment of making a choice. Or we go the other direction and we make a choice. We focus on choice to the detriment of allowing guidance to come in. So, oh, I love it. People are claiming things in the chat. I love that. Go to town with that, y'all. This is great because you're all here, divine witnesses, and I know that you can hold space for some amazing things to happen. In fact, I've heard stories after groups of things coming together that are amazing. So I would love to see that happen for everyone here. So we kind of allow. I sometimes don't call what I do channeling exactly because sometimes when people are channeling, they're really embodying a spirit of some kind. And while I have done that occasionally, I get messages and I just receive and let it come out however it's meant to come out, and I don't cogitate a reply or cogitate the content. But sometimes I want to call it just spirit downloads, you know, and you might have that experience too. You may not call it channeling, you may call it just downloads. Um, but we all have access to our higher wisdom and our higher knowing. And when we move into a path of allowing spirit to guide us in whatever way is available to us at the moment, and that can happen all kinds of ways. It can happen through synchronicities, noticing synchronicities. You may have clairs that you don't know are clairs. You might have clairsentience, like a an awareness of things on a intuitive level. You might have clair empathy, where you can sense into the truth of a situation for yourself and others. You might have claircognizance, where you have a divine knowing of things before they maybe before they happen, or while things are underway, you may understand something about what's going on that's a little deeper. So, don't think that you have to be clairvoyant or clairaudient to just have guidance. You probably have clairs that you definitely have clairs, and you may or may not have clairs that may have clairs that you haven't quite accepted as a clair yet. You might just think, oh, it's just the way I am. So I want to highlight for you that you can notice your clairs, and your clairs, like clair, as I've said, all these different, we kind of just call them clairs. Um, you just use whatever you have at your disposal to tap into your higher wisdom and higher knowing, while Guy is saying, while you transmit a field of inquiry that's very directed. So, guys often talk to me about how our souls have a field of inquiry coming into life. And when we are kind of looking at divine purpose, we're often talking about what's my my inquiry? What's my loving inquiry in life? And the truth is that most purposes of the soul coming in are very, not basic, but they're very straightforward, like joy. Joy is some people's line of inquiry in life. Manifestation. You might have direct questions about stuff like power, uh, power from within, as a direction versus like power over. You may evaluate systems of power. I find that that's a thing that happens in my life. And my purpose is more about play. For me, play is a purpose. So, knowing what your purpose is in life is actually a pretty fun question to answer, and it can guide you through anything. In fact, there's so many ways that that can play out in our lives where we often think, I'm on the wrong path, I'm not doing the right thing. And it's like, well, are you actually playing in your life? Yes. Well, then you are actually you are committed to your divine purpose if play becomes a very key focus for you. And many of you probably do have play as a purpose in life. So I love knowing that because it makes it easier on me to actually um, enjoy the idea that I'm actually committing the divine act, as Gaia says, of playing as is designed by spirit. And that's not just spirit with a capital S, that's, well, you're spirit with a capital S. It's not just all that is. So when we are guided, we are here to play with um, our purpose. We're not here to just receive our purpose, we're here to design our purpose. And I find that this is a deeply empowering approach to purpose because we tend to want to hand it over to someone else. We look for the divine permission slip from somewhere, when in fact it's your job to give yourself the permission slip at the end of the day. You can certainly surround yourself, and I recommend surrounding yourself with people who are light workers who appreciate the path you're on. They understand that you're doing your work, that you're meant to be supported. You're meant to focus on the things that you're curious about. Those are the best playmates in life. I think we need more of that in the world. And the truth is that you could have a bunch of those people in your life all rallying for you and telling you, go for it. And you could still choose not to do it. So, where does that will and divine intervention will come in at that point if you're not making the choice. And that's when things start to go a little funky. That's when we start to notice spirit kind of knocking on the door saying, hey, you, what are you up to? Are you ready for this yet? We're ready for you, but are you ready? And, you might have an inner quandary around whether or not you let it in. So if you are having a hard time letting it in, I would love it if you feel open to letting us know in the chat if letting it in is a problem for you, if you feel like I'm having a hard time letting it in. And of course, we'll all rally for you with a divine permission slip to do what you need to do. Um, but when we move into the query of how do I leapfrog over that? Because that's what we want to do. We want to leapfrog over that consistent quandary of trying to find our way in. Um, it does help to have spirit come in and say, "Look, you got this, and you can do this." Like that's super helpful. And I agree that we all could use more of that. Um, in fact, I am very blessed that my guides can communicate with me because they will often give me atta girls and pat me on the back and say, look, you've got this. This is going to work out. And I always appreciate that. It definitely has boosted my self-esteem over the years quite a lot, um, to be frank. But I think spirit will show up in your life as other people saying the same thing. You may need to really listen to spirit as it through the lens of who's showing up in my world, who is there to rally for me right now, and what are they saying to what are they encouraging? Are they supportive? Do I listen to them or do I listen to my inner fears and judgments of myself? Because that's really kind of a core thing is self-judgment. Are you judging who you really are as acceptable, or are you really ready to rally for your rebellious side? Because that is kind of the key thing here. Moving into the role of uh, sacred rebel. That's another archetype that I play with. So, do you explore the fringes with pride? Do you own what's yours? Do you put yourself out there for being a little unusual, or maybe to certain people in your life you might look unusual and you're kind of afraid to stir the pot? Um, it took me a hot minute to fully commit to being a channeler, to fully commit to doing light language. These are seen in the kind of mainstream as a little offbeat, and I had to really understand that there was a welcoming universe ready for that, for me to do that. And in fact, I hit this point. I wish everyone could hit this point because it was such a great moment where in fact, I was in therapy and I said, you know, I, there was that tentativeness about whether I was going to jump in or not. And I found myself saying, but I can't imagine myself not doing it. I can't picture it not happening. I am so elated by the idea that I can't do anything but trust in that. Hitting that moment where you're like, I don't know where this is leading, but if I go anywhere else, I will be stymied. I will not be myself. I will not be true to myself. And goodness, isn't that spirit intervention when you feel gross and unfocused and you feel like you're trying so hard to be someone that isn't right for you anymore? Are you hitting that point? Are you hitting a point where that discomfort is coming in, where you're saying to yourself, I can't keep just being who I thought I needed to be all this time. I need to start being who I'm really designed to be, or I'm designing myself to be. Because that is an interesting paradox here. We're talking about design of yourself on two levels, on the spirit level and on the earth plane level, where you actually take action to design who you really are too. There's a certain amount of decision in my work around my psychic gifts because as these gifts started coming in, I said, I want more of this. I want more of that. This is how I want it to roll. And sure enough, Spirit did give it to me. Um, so I often say, just decide if you want to be clairvoyant, decide you want to be clairvoyant. Great. And I always say, make it kind and a sweet journey into clairvoyant abilities when I set that intention, because it doesn't have to. I had a hard road, but it doesn't have to roll that way. And I know plenty of people for whom it's been a very sweet trajectory into one's gifts. So um, the challenge here when you're a very intelligent and self-aware person is, and this is again coming from Gaia, what is the challenge? The challenge is that you are so self-aware that you can see all the possibilities present in the situation and you go, well, I can forecast how this is going to go over here and how that's going to go over here and how much energy I'm going to have. You may be used to yourself being at a low energy point that you don't trust yourself to move into something that requires your energy. I've certainly been there. Um, and that can happen if you've had a long period of spirit knocking on the door saying it's time to move forward. And you're like, I just can't see the logistics. I can't see how this comes together. I can't see how the money comes in. I can't see how my parents-in-law will react to me going off and doing X, Y, or Z. It's kind of funny that they wanted me to say parents-in-law. I was going to say, I guess traditionally one would say one's mother-in-law, but they're like, no, don't say that. It's everybody. It can be anybody. So, you know, guys are saying don't graft yourself onto anybody other than yourself. Don't start designing yourself according to other people's vision for you. Let that lie. Just decide that it doesn't matter. And, yes, we live in a world where it's still a little hard to put your shingle out for something That's not mainstream, speaking to those of you who might fall in that camp. But it's becoming more mainstream and people love it. They really do love like the things that we want to do, and they're including whoever you are, you know who you are. Or maybe you don't. And this is spirit suggesting you think about whether you're one of those people that wants to be a little uh, you know, the word anti-authoritarian is coming in my mind, but that's not exactly what I was meaning to say. Um, Subversive, different, unique, we are meant to be as special as we are, and not to try to kowtow to the kind of host of reasons that people suggest that we should um, try to fit ourselves into their universe. In fact, this is about making your own universe. This is about making a new universe. This is about creating the universe that Gaia wants, where everyone is self-realized, or not self-realized, but fully realized as their true self. In that sense, self-realized. Obviously, we lean on other people to get there. In fact, there's a lot to be said for being vulnerable about what you're interested in right now and what's calling you forward, because that's how you're going to find the resources in the map to go toward what you want. Be brave enough to say, I'm looking for this, or I'm thinking about doing this, to the people that are trustworthy partners on the journey, because that will open doors for you. And vulnerability is huge in opening the magic up. So, no, we're not self-realized in the sense that we don't lean on other people. In fact, I've been called forward in my life to be more able to ask other people for help in times when I thought I should have done that on my own. I didn't. I, did I need help cleaning my house? Well, yes, I did. So, my dear friend who offered, I said, you know what? Yes, I'm going to say yes, even though that is something that I should, as an adult, be able to do on my own. Like, well, not at this particular moment in my life. Can I be honest that I actually need to move through this with grace and with fun and play? Yes, and this friend is very playful. So, it didn't actually end up working out, but I was really happy that I actually accepted her help. She didn't actually get to come over that day, but um, in fact, my partner did actually clean the house. He did a great job, so that was nice. He got to be the adult that weekend, um, which was actually really helpful, because then I finally could face down the stuff that I needed to do, and I did it. So it helped alleviate some of my stress around it. Um, so it's kind of funny that my guys are actually suggesting I mention my housekeeping woes, because I'm thinking about what that's about, and I'm like, oh, it's actually meant for me to call out the fact that I'm neurodivergent. And I think it's important for me. I don't know about you if you have that in your field at all, but for me to know that I'm neurodivergent, because then I stop expecting myself to operate according to the same paradigm everybody else operates. So, I love that word, because it's such a gracious way of describing something that is kind of loaded in the public eye, this idea of neurodivergence. And or I have a friend, there's the term neurospicy, and then I have a friend who calls it neurofabulous. I'm neurofabulous. I love that. So, um, because it comes with all kinds of beautiful things as well. It's not just about like what's not working. It's actually like so much more than I'm probably on the spectrum a little bit. So something like one day, just that I can be OCD about the weirdest things, and in fact, that's how I get everything done. I actually get really OCD about stuff. And when I'm on purpose, it's easy for me to be in my genius. And when I'm not on purpose, it's a lot harder. So, what do we do to shift into knowing that we're on our purpose? Well, um, it's really important that we all step into a place of willing to be choice oriented. Option oriented. Gaia, in fact, likes to tell me, she says, I don't give you one path. I give you options to choose from so that you can define yourself based on your own driving instincts versus what spirit would design for you. This is meant to be a place of choice. So, gosh, isn't that overwhelming when you're an empath? It's like, well, I could choose five different things. I want spirit to just tell me one thing, please, so I know exactly where to go. And yes, that's great. In fact, you can opt for that, I think. But guys are saying no, we don't do that. It's funny. They're shutting me down on that one. They're like, no, we don't do that. We give you options, and it's up to you to listen to your guidance about what is yours. So what is that? That falls in, that's about falling into alignment. And alignment is body wisdom. Alignment is knowing. Alignment is trusting yourself. Oh, gosh, that's the key thing right there is trusting yourself. And I'm here to carry that baton forward for you to go trust yourself, to listen to the little inclinations or big inclinations that are calling you forward. And you know what? Getting on your path isn't about making one big leap most of the time. Most of the time, it's about your curiosity and following your curiosity. What's the next thing pulling you in? What's the next thing drawing you out of yourself? What is making you not maybe you're not enthusiastic right now. Maybe you're just a little warmly interested in something, you know? Um, Maybe it's time to get out of your comfort zone and do something you knew you needed to do all along and just hold the space for yourself that it'll be great, that it'll work out wonderfully. I think about how it took me like a huge leap to get into networking groups. And I found like the most beautiful networking group that was heart led. A friend referred me to this group. And I started going, and it was really hard as an empath for me to go. So I spent a lot of time grounding myself before I walked inside because I felt like I had to be on. And it's funny what happened over time is I just didn't give a shit about who I was presenting as. I just was like, I'm just here to make friends. I don't even care about getting business. I don't have to be on. I just have to find my soulmates, you know? I'm not here for anything but that. And what ended up happening early on is I met this glorious person who was a dear friend and became a maternal figure in my life and also a colleague, and we worked on many things together. And and over time, we got really, really close. And I introduced her to my dad, who was kind of warming up to leaving his very toxic relationship. And they became friends. And after a while, I think his eyes opened to like, oh, this is what true friendship is. I haven't even had a true friend in so long. So he realized he was worth more and he did leave that relationship. And then after a while, the two of them started dating and he moved up here. They hadn't even really gone on a date. He was living across the country and they ended up moving into a house together that was their perfect house that they had like envisioned in Zoom chats. And it was really funny because I wasn't worried weirdly. You would normally worry about your dad moving cross country to move right in with someone he hadn't gone on any real dates with, you know, and they'd been talking for so long at that point. So they were so compatible, living arrangement wise, like in terms of how they like to do things, that I wasn't worried. And it's worked out beautifully. Now they're married and they're very happy together. So it's a sweet story, all because I went to a networking group. It's like amazing what can happen. And I'm so happy for my dad because he deserves the best. He just deserves so much. He's such a sweet man. He teases me because even as a kid, I would be like introducing him to people. I'd be like, my dad is really cool. He can do all these amazing things. He's like, you're trying to hook me up with everybody. And and I, and I would, I don't know. I think I was a kid, so I didn't know what I was up to, but I think he wasn't really happy in my family either. He wasn't treated very well, and some part of me was trying to like make him happy. You know, I have no idea. I don't know what I was thinking. I was just impressed by my dad. I just always was introducing him with great, great fanfare. But anyways, I think it's really profound though how something as simple as going out of my comfort zone and going to this group that someone recommended to me has transformed my life completely. And that's just one way that one group has transformed my life. In fact, I've gotten a host of very close friends because of it, and I did get work out of it. And back in the day when I was doing design work and branding and coaching, and I got some really, really close colleagues out of it too. So, um, I don't know. It's funny because I didn't expect to talk about that, but if you have something like that, then go for it. I'm just saying, just try it. Just you don't have to go forever. You don't have to do it a second time. You don't have to do a third time. Just try one thing. I always jokingly say, like, if you need more fun in your life, go roller skating. You may think that you don't want to do that, but you might actually enjoy roller skating. And if you're the kind of person who you're gonna fall down a lot and it's gonna be no fun, then okay, don't go roller skating, go swimming or do something. Connect with your inner child, connect with that possibility of like what can happen if you do the thing that that the thing that things you up. What does that mean? My guys are cute. It gets you to riled up to the point where you're like, I can't do that. There's no way. It's not happening. It's not my thing. I don't do anything like that. That is just not me. And they're saying that kind of puts you in a blockade because you don't actually notice that the thing that you're most resistant to is the thing that is waiting for you the most. So that's funny because that kind of goes against what I normally say about things, which is like listen to your trust your instincts, and your instincts are saying stop, no. But um, I guess, there are times when that is the right course of action, paradoxically speaking. We listen to the flow state, and then we listen to the thing that's riling us up and getting us nervous and agitated and upset. And maybe it's not about they're saying it's not always about doing that thing right away, although it might be, but it might be like taking baby steps towards getting to the place where you're ready for it too. And that can happen over time. It wasn't like overnight that I put myself out there as a channeler. I had made my website. I had spent about 6 months sitting on that website, waiting for the right feeling. And it did come, so that does happen. Um, so, you know, allowing the Nathalie or Natalie, I'm sorry, I've forgotten how to pronounce your name. Allowing the resistance to what we want to dissolve. Yes, that is huge. That is huge. Allowing that resistance to dissolve is absolutely it. So, you know, um, basically, what we want to do at the end of the day to kind of bring this all together is to trust in ourselves on a very deep level and know that you are meant to discover your true self in life. That is actually the gist here. The whole enchilada of what we're here to do is to discover and realize who we are in life. And that is you manifesting your true nature through action, through decision. It's not that we're all action based. Being is important. Being in yourself, very important to be. If anything, to be true to you, there's certainly actions that we must take in order for us to achieve the things we want to achieve. Again, it's not about achievement either. Um, but there's a sense of knowing that you've done the things you came to do that we are talking about here truthfully, because that is where we start to notice our purpose being realized is that we took the next step, that we spent the time with the people that were aligned for us, that we started having yummy experiences, that we started playing with the right people, that we started, this really kind of comes down to being around the right people, really. I mean, goodness, life is about enjoying all of you being here, um, and us being in communion on a path together, and realizing our true nature is about enjoying the camaraderie, the chemistry of companionship, and all that entails the other things that we want come from those things most of the time. And of course, heads down time working on your book, for goodness sake, sitting there and actually doing it. It's, finding it within yourself to decide you're worth writing a book. That it isn't, and just as a little tip, you leave your editor out the window when you're writing. You don't let the editor in while you're writing. You just write. Um, and we want to enjoy our journey as much as possible. But what you have to understand is that you're going to go through growth periods and growth spurts that are a little daunting at times, and you are there for it. You can handle it. You've got this, okay? So, whatever you want to create next year, go for it. Make baby steps if you need to. Take the time to sink into the vision of what you want. And what we can do here is hold space for that vision. So I want to take a minute before we kind of do a little Q&A and be kind of percolating around your thoughts here. I'm just going to take a quick second here because there's a pathway that I want to share with you for doing this, and I won't take more than a couple minutes of your time, but I want to share with you my group Catalyst really quickly. I actually know that you are in a space where you can actually achieve the things you want to achieve. And that is, support is huge, and having a community is huge, and having people on your team is huge, and being among people who speak your language is so big. So we do that in Catalyst, and Catalyst is a 7-month container for expansion, 5D manifestation, and it is a place for empowered creators. So whatever you want to create, we are there to hold space for you. And purpose is really a key factor in why I created the group, because I want people to really be drawn into what they're here to do and to fulfill that need and to find the wherewithal to do what they need to do. And that comes down to a lot of factors around how we can step into our growth path, into our journey with grace, with flow, with ease. And that is all stuff that we talk about in Catalyst. So I would love to invite you to join. We are here in community right now in a way that we would be in Catalyst. And discussion and dialogue is a huge part of it as well. So I have channel teachings that come in, and I also offer activation audios every week. We meet, just to give you a little logistical information, because I know that matters for some of you, we meet the first, second, and third Tuesday of the month at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, you can think about whether or not that would work for your schedule. And we do record all the classes. We have an online group space where people dialogue, and it is absolutely a blast. We have so much fun. So I would love to invite you to join us. And, I think that the direction that we're all going toward here is one of opportunity that will be manifested in some way or another. So here's my call out to you, is that if you're feeling the sense that opportunity is knocking right now, and you want a team at your back to be there with you as you jump forward and you make that change, we are here for you. So it is an ongoing group. I'm in open enrollment right now for January, and I have a special offer for all of you that will go through midnight Pacific Standard Time this Wednesday, December 18th. And I'm offering an extra 111 off the program. And you just need a coupon code. I'll just paste that here. And I'll give you the link to check it out if you want to find out more. So it is a powerful, powerful opportunity for us to stay in group together. If you are feeling the vibe here, I would love to have you there as well. If you have any questions, just email me. You can, you have the email address for this group thing. So just reply to any email I've sent, and I will answer your email if you have any questions. And on this page, there is a place to schedule a discovery call if you want to know more. So that's that. So we have a few minutes left. I am just going to open the floor for any questions. If you will, be sure to hit the raise your hand emoji, or I think it's a reaction, to raise your hand if you want to speak versus just speaking. That'll let me know that you are interested in either sharing. You're more than welcome to share something, or ask a question, talk about a specific situation. I would love to hear from you if you're interested. And then if not, no worries. I will kind of keep channeling a little bit before I hear from one of you. So actually, one thing that Gaia has suggested we do is maybe instead of talking further, have a little visualization meditation that we can do that everyone can enjoy in the recording. So why don't we just take this time to do that? And if something comes to someone when we're done, that would be great. So we can go wherever that takes us next. So yeah, let's take a minute to just center in and notice your grounding. Notice your connection to Gaia. We're present here now in this divine moment. Everything is in perfect divine order. There's nothing out of place. Even if there's something out of place, there may be a way that it can come into an alignment with you right now. So let's be open to whatever wants to come into alignment, whatever wants to change, and put it out into the field that it is in in a kind of a mode of fruition, in a mode of an operational agreement with you that it will come to pass, that all things are aligned. And we will decide here that whatever is in the way, if it is truly in the way, or if it wants to be out of the way, will be healed. All we're going to do is bypass the struggle. We're going to open up our channel to fruition, to the field of inquiry of loving alignment. And you have a 5D arrangement with the divine. That arrangement says you are here to be you, and that is all there is to it. There are no ifs, ands, or buts. You are here to be yourself. That's what's guiding us now is true self-expression. Nothing is in the way of you achieving your purpose, is what we're deciding henceforth. Your purpose will be fulfilled. That purpose will be clear. That purpose will engage your focus in a beautiful way that draws forth serenity, joy, peace, catapults you into enthusiastic fervor for whatever it is you are guided into. And we will come to a place where all things are joyfully present moment expansions of our true nature and our true essence. Knowing your essence is the key here. And I'm holding it as true that you will see into that essence and understand it deeply now and forever. So enjoy what comes before and what comes after and all the gooey moments in between. We're holding it as true that all things come into perfect flow. You are guided, you are purposeful, you are directed, and you are in love with life in a way that you have always been designed to be and always shall be henceforth. And so it is. It is so. All right, my friends. Well, let me know if anything's percolating for you. And if you have any questions about Catalyst, I'm happy to answer those too. But yeah, we are here in a sacred agreement from the divine. And always, if you don't feel like you want to consent to anything that has been set forward, then you don't have to. This is a free will space. But we have, in some way, set an agreement that all things are coming together on Gaia. This isn't just about what we do in a smaller group. It's also about what it is we are praying for on the higher planes for all people, all in all time. And all time is now. So we are bringing harmony into the field by being together like this. So I appreciate you being here. It means a lot to me to see you. And do reach out if anything comes to you that you want to share. I would love to hear from you. And yeah, I guess we're at conclusion. Um, I just want to check in and make sure that I can see no one has raised their hand. Okay. Well, my friends, I won't keep you. Thank you for being here. It's been such a treat and love, love, love to you. And I hope you have a beautiful week and a great solstice. And maybe we'll talk in the future in group. I would love to see you there. All right. Thank you all. Take good care. Bye.